Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ege, and this is In Between Books. So guys, today we're going to be doing a book tag. Honestly, it has been so long since I did a book tag. It's been a year since I did a book tag, and I enjoy these videos so much. And I found this video, like this particular book tag we're doing today, is something that was like people were really into it at the beginning of this year and late last year. But I obviously, my condition at that time, I was not booktubing, so I could not do this tag, and finally have the chance to do it. So let's get into the hot or not, A to Z hot or not book tag. Sorry guys, this country is hot. Just don't mind me. I need breeze in my life. Just give me a minute. The essence of this challenge is to go from A to Z as fast as possible, like just answer hot or not to the prompts. So I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible while also giving you guys little explanations to my answers as much as I can. So the first prompt is A, which is for audiobooks. Hot, extremely hot. I love audiobooks. Audiobooks are like my favorite format of reading. Audiobooks save my life, honestly, because most of the time when I'm just overwhelmed with work or life or this country that I exist in, just countrying and just being a pain in the ass, because this country is a lot, and like life is just overwhelming for me. I just cannot see myself physically reading a book, and during those periods audiobooks save my life. I don't know where I would have been if not for audiobooks. Then the next is buildings roman, something like that. I don't think I pronounced the word well, but buildings roman, which is dealing with a person's formative years or spiritual education, and I'm interpreting this as like coming of age books or books with like young adults, if I'm correct. And if the way I see this, I'm seeing this as coming of age stories, which is a definite hot one because I enjoy a good coming of age story. Next is C, which is for children's books. I'm not into children's books at all. I can read some middle grades. In fact, there are some middle grades that I read and love, but it's definitely not a category or genre that I would just easily reach out to. I've found one or two books in middle grade that I love, but children's books in general, it's not for me. It's not like where you would find me typically, but so is a not. The next is D for digital, and this is definitely hot because digital books are the easiest because of my geographical location. Digital books are just the easiest formats to find books for me personally, because physical books are so expensive. The audiobooks, there's an app I use, but it doesn't always have the particular book I'm looking for. But digital books is just easier, I guess. So digital books they're just convenient to carry around, and they're cheaper, and it's just easier, more accessible based on my geographical location. I live in Nigeria by the way, so it's just easier to get to digital books than to the other formats. Then the next is E for experimental, and in this I'm seeing like in terms of writing, the way the book is written, or like the story or the plot in itself. For right, so I want to say maybe, because in terms of writing, I've read some books that use like the way the book was written is not the typical way, like not the typical way. I've read some books like If an Egyptian Cannot Speak, which is something I recently read. The writing style was it wasn't the usual way things, like it did not explore one of the conventional ways of writing, and some others, and I enjoyed them to an extent. Like, if not enjoyed them, I found them interesting. So maybe because I've read some books with experimental writing that were intriguing to me. For storyline, most of the time books that I see that approach, like the storylines are not, let me just say, they are not conventional storylines. I found them strange. So, but there's one I loved that had that style, which is Akweke's debut, Freshwater. At that time, that book was very unconventional. I've never read anything like that, and I loved it. So it kind of depends. Sometimes it's like a hit or miss situation for me. Sometimes I enjoy them, sometimes I just Like, what the hell did I read? Like, there's this book, Symbiosis or something like that I read, and I still don't understand up to date. So it's just like that for me. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. So it's kind of like a maybe situation. Like, I can't really give a yes or no. Then the next is F for fantasy, which is a definite hot. I love that's like one of my favorite genres to read from. Fantasy books are like, I love them so much. The next is D for graphic novels. I've not read a lot of graphic novels, but the few I've read, I enjoy mangas, I enjoy manhwas, graphic novel, and just comics. I enjoy them a lot, so it's a definite hot for me. Then H for horror. No, it's a not. I don't like horror. I don't mess with the movies, horror series, horror books. Like, no, thank you very much. Thank you so much, but it's not for me. Then we have I for inspirational. It's a not. I don't, anything inspirational, don't bring it near me. I'm sorry. Don't bring it near me. Sorry. Don't even try it. Then J for journalism. It's a not because it's not something I would typically go for. But I've read some that I like, but it's still a not. The next we have is kitsch, which means that has a popular or sentimental appeal. And so for that, I mean like books that are popular, like overhyped books. I would say hot for this category because I used to have this bad habit where if I see that a book is very popular or hyped, I would stay away from it because I've had like really bad experiences, especially with BookTok books, popular BookTok books, where it's hyped to the extent that I have like very high expectations and then it ends up being very underwhelming. And so at some point I just started staying away from books that are popular. Like, once I see a book is popular, I just automatically stay away from it, which frankly is a bad habit because some of these books that are popular for a reason, because they're actually very good books and they deserve to be hyped. So it's a thing where sometimes you are going to be like, so some of these books actually deserve the hype. So I'm trying to stop this bad habit where I avoid popular books altogether. But I usually do this thing where if a book is hyped, I don't read it immediately in the middle of the hype. I kind of wait for the popularity to at least die down to a reasonable extent, and then I can approach it so that my expectations, like, so I'm going to go in with too much expectations for the book. So that's like how I approach it now. But yeah, I definitely read like popular because most of them actually, like, some of them, they actually deserve the hype. Like, they are really good books, so they are popular for a reason, and the author deserves to get all their flowers. Then libraries. So based on my geographical location, I don't have a functioning library, or at least the libraries in this country, or at least in my state, they are not functioning. So I want to say hot because libraries sound like, frankly, based just with the way the economy is right now, I would love to have a library that I can visit and borrow books and read for free. But the libraries in this country are not functioning, so it's a not, just because I don't have libraries are not available to me. Functioning libraries are not just available to me. M for mystery, and I've recently gotten into some cozy mystery books with like amateur women students, and I love them so much. So definitely hot for me. I enjoy mysteries. Then N for non-fiction. If you had asked me this question like 1 or 2 years ago, I would have probably been like not. But now it's hot because I've recently got into non-fiction, and I find that I enjoy memoirs and also books about race, gender, and feminism. I read non-fiction with those topics. So it's all for omnibus. And omnibus is like a collection of an author's work, like a box collection of an author's work, something like that. So you can think of manga. Manga, they have like various volumes, so like a box collection of a particular manga, or even a book box with like the author's works or things like that. And I'm somebody that enjoys, like, if I love an author, I enjoy collecting all their books. Collecting an author that I love, that's something that I enjoy. So omnibus is hot for me. And the next is poetry, which is not. I can't do with poetry. Like, I just feel like poetry is something you have to read it, learn and contemplate and just think about it and understand it. Just it feels like a lot of work, and I'm not ready for that. So not. Q for quest, which is when a protagonist goes on a quest, physical or spiritual. I want to say not, because I don't necessarily hate quest books. Like if I read a book that has like quest in it, I'll read it and I won't hate it. But it's not something I would be like, oh, this is like my favorite thing to read about. Get what I mean? R for romance, and which is hot. I love romance. That's like one of my favorite series ever. I say series. That's one of my favorite genres to read from. So definitely hot for romance. S for science fiction. I want to say not, because I've read very few science fiction in my life. And yeah, I've read a handful of it, and I've read some that I've actually enjoyed, but it's just not like the genre I would typically go for. So I want to say not. T for translation. We have books translated from one language to another. And I would say hot. I've read a handful, like not a lot, but I've read a good amount of translated fiction, and I really enjoyed some of them. Most of them I didn't. I feel like for translated books, some things are lost in translation. So sometimes I don't completely get it. Like I don't completely vibe with the book. Like I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like I don't completely gel, like vibe with the book. Like it just like there's something lost in translation. I don't completely connect with the book. I feel like if I could read the book in its language, I probably get it better. Just there's always a connection thing, but like most of the time I read some and I really enjoy them, and then sometimes I'm just lukewarm, like neutral, like this is a good book objectively, I just don't connect with it type of situation. So it's kind of a hit or miss situation, but generally I still enjoy translated works. Then we have Ubersmensch. Okay, I feel like I don't call that word correctly, but Ubersmensch, which is the superhuman or extraordinary human, characters who can do everything. I can't actually think of a book with this type of character, honestly. So I'm thinking in terms of anime, when you have overpowered main characters like Saitama from One Punch Man, Mob Psycho Mob, those type of characters that are just overpowered and nobody can beat them. And yeah, in terms of anime, I like them, but in books I can't actually think of books. I don't think I've read any superhero books. Honestly, I can't actually think of one, so I'm just going to say not. I have V for Victorian, which is literature from 1837 to 1901. I don't think, except maybe historical romance, I don't think I've read books from the Victorian era. I just like books that are that far back, except it's historical fiction that has to do with like people of color. I have no interest. Like classics or whatever, anything from that era. If it's not historical fiction from about people of color, like from the African continent or Asia, or I don't know, if it's not historical fiction, then frankly I have no interest in it. So I'm going to say not. W for Western, not. I don't think I've read any Western in my life, so not. Then X for X-rated. For X-rated, I'm going to think like erotica or books that has spice in them. You know, spicy books, smart. Definitely hot. I enjoy sports. Every once in a while, I dabble in it, and they're always really good. Romance books with smart, romanticists with smart, anything smart, I'll read, I will enjoy. So definitely hot. Then Y for young adults. Yes, I enjoy. Every once in a while, I pick up a young adult book and I really like it. So hot. Then Z for zeitgeist. Wow. Zeitgeist. I don't know how to pronounce this word, sorry, but zeitgeist. And that means like spirit or mood of the time. So I'm thinking like writing a book about like a particular period in time, like maybe write a book around World War One, or maybe around the pandemic, or just like around a particular period. I'm thinking, or maybe a new release. Maybe yes. I'm thinking in terms of like historical fiction, which I enjoy. New releases like based on what's happening in our world today. I definitely like. So yes, it's hot. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and that's it for my tag. I don't know, let me know if we have anything in common, like if you share any of, like if you have the same opinions as me in any of the prompts, with any of the prompts. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.